Dr. Barnett in this room. Ready? Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Let the record show that all aldermen are present. None are absent. And Dr. Barnett, would you mind giving the invocation, and Mr. Matthew Hinton with the pledge?
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we want to come to you tonight. Thank you for our city, Lord, and our mayor and board of aldermen. Lord, tonight we especially pray for our country that's going through some difficult days. Lord, violence and hate is never your plan. But Lord, we pray that in this city we'd be an example to the rest of the nation about how we can disagree and be agreeable, still maintain friendships and kindness and affection for one another and a common goal. Lord, I pray for tonight's proceedings that wisdom would prevail. It's in Christ's name we ask these things. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
Okay, we got a motion by Alderman Pfeiffer.
Second.
Second by Alderman Stennis. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, we have a proclamation tonight honoring Mr. Daniel Spicer. Mr. Daniel here tonight?
Yes.
All right. 27 years of service. Daniel, it's been a long time since
It's a long time.
the first day, I remember you and Brian putting in the first septic tank for my first house. That was a long time ago. That was before you came to work for the city. So, Daniel Spicer. Whereas Daniel Spicer is retiring as a heavy equipment operations supervisor for the city of Ocean Springs after a long and successful career in municipal service. Whereas Daniel began his service to the city in 1998 when he joined the city of Ocean Springs Public Works as a laborer, and whereas through hard work, dedication, extensive knowledge, and the use of heavy equipment, Daniel steadily rose through the ranks, serving as a laborer, heavy equipment operator, and ultimately being promoted to heavy equipment operations supervisor in 2020. Whereas over the course of 27 years, Daniel has proven himself to be an invaluable asset to the city, demonstrating both technical expertise and a strong commitment to public service. Whereas Daniel was instrumental in training personnel and improving the city's heavy equipment operations mission, mentoring staff, and ensuring the safe and efficient delivery of essential services to residents. Whereas upon his retirement, he leaves behind a legacy of knowledge and teamwork. And while he will be greatly missed by his colleagues, he now has the opportunity to enjoy the time and pursuits he so greatly deserves. Now therefore, I, Bobby Cox, Mayor of the City of Ocean Springs, Mississippi, do hereby extend our congratulations to Daniel Spicer for his dedication and service to the community on the 16th day of September 2025. And yes, sir. About out of breath right now. Let's see, now we have a presentation by Covington Civil Engineering, risk analysis surrounding area of the Leica site. Mr. Remmer, thanks for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Board of Aldermen. It's nice to be invited to this very meeting of the city government. And so this evening, I'm going to outline a proposal to perform an independent evaluation of the Leica site that's on Government Street, 2006 North Government Street in your town here. I know that it's been a subject around here that's for redevelopment. And also with me tonight is Elaine Young. She is a professional geologist in our firm, and she'll be here to answer technical questions. And then our partner, Ben Benvenuti, who's our principal engineer, he should be here any moment. So what we're proposing to do, and this is based on discussions I've had with a few of you previously, and do some clarification here, is to look at existing data that has already been done for the site. There's a ton of it. And we have already executed a Freedom of Information request for all of the site assessments and a site analysis that the state has for this site that would be the latest information. And then we would be looking to evaluate it for areas that have not been delineated or need more work without duplicating what has already been done. When you start taking samples and drilling these wells, it's very expensive, and so there's not really any reason to go back and do over in the same exact spot what somebody has already done. I hope that you would agree with that. So it is our intention, if you approve of it, of course, we'll be receiving this Freedom of Information data, and it's been about 2 weeks since we ordered it, but we're going to provide a report to the city of Ocean Springs that's the status of environmental investigations and negotiations with the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality, and the potential risk associated with redeveloping the site for commercial uses and adjacent properties based on available records, the potential constraints and requirements placed on redeveloping the site, and additional environmental investigation or remediation measures that the state may require, or that the city may like to see happen, or insist additional work be done, or cleanup type of activities. As part of this, we want to understand the overhead extent of what has been done on this property. So there's Ben right there. Thank you, Ben. There's been a lot of well drilling and soil and groundwater sampling and vapor sampling on this property. I know that the people here in your town and the adjacent properties are concerned over potential harmful health issues. The contaminant, vinyl chloride, that is the primary one that has leaked so much from their operations. It has migrated, we know, several places on site and off site, but we just don't have the full extent as to what has been done. So it would not be practical to expect anyone to give you any good advice on something that they just don't know about. So the first step in this stage, is to learn all that we can about what has already officially been done, who did it, how they did this work, the aerial extent of the contaminant. Is it migrated over to the south side where the city owns property? Has it migrated across Government Street to other privately owned commercial property? And of course, to the east side, where there's residential property currently, and then where they have already delineated to a great extent the depth and breadth of this contaminant going off to the west towards the off-site into the city property, past the street, potentially onto the YMCA property. I know that you're interested in what is going on with the drainage ditch that empties into the basin. what was done there, was enough testing done to assure the safety that there's not violent chloride or breakdowns of it moving underground, and getting into the water there. So to do that will cost the city $6,750. And I believe you will believe that is a pretty good deal considering the task at hand to figure out what's happened. Now, we're not talking about replicating stuff that's been done. And if some of the conclusions that our engineers and scientists come to would happen to be the same, or there's not a conflict, then there's nothing wrong with that. But we are here to help. We're here to help the city get this property back in commerce. We're here to help make sure that it's safe and that people aren't going to get sick from it. That's a mouthful right there. To the extent that we can. And then what the next steps would be for you to further do more testing to compare to what has already been done or contrast it, as the city explained to me. Do work, sampling work to contrast what has already been done. Well, having said that, we put together a budget of what it would cost to drill 6 nesting wells. The nesting wells are similar to the ones they have out there. They're duplicate wells. They're side by side, go through various steps. I don't know what that Elaine would be proposing, but I know she has suggested possibly probing down past through the second clay layer or clay barrier that should be preventing that contaminant from moving further into drinking water sources, for example, if that hasn't already been done. So to drill 6 of these wells, and do all the testing that would need to be done, will be approximately $75,000. There's a great deal of expense in drilling these wells and placing them in laboratory work and all that sort of thing. But as to whether the city would want to pay for that or would be seeking someone else to pay for it, may be responsible for it, that's just another discussion that would be for you and your attorneys, for sure. But, we will do our very dead level best to give you all the information. It will be very transparent. We're not in anybody's pocket. We're not captured by the state or anybody else. We tell the truth. We tell the truth 100% of the time. And anybody that's done business with us will tell you that. And sometimes it's not pretty, but it is what it is.
So this would be to review all the numbers that you receive through the information you're gathering, but any of the new testing you would recommend we would only do on the parcels around that site that belong to the city or right away, correct?
Yes, sir. Where we can have access to it.
Okay.
We cannot. Thank you for bringing that up. The city does not have automatic access to the Leica property. It's theirs, privately owned. They would have to grant the city permission to do more testing. I don't know, that might be a lot to expect from those people. I just don't know. But where the city has the rights, or where there are people, where there are citizens or owners who are off-site who are concerned and would be willing to give that permission or perhaps to pay for some of it, that would certainly work. Where the city has the right.
I really appreciate it. Do we have any questions from the board?
I kind of want to hear from the geologist.
Okay, yes. So Elaine has been with our firm for over 30 years. And I don't want to hurt her feelings, but I know that she's been a geologist for at least 30, but less than 50.
Thank you.
Do you have any specific questions, or?
Not really, I guess, maybe if you could talk to us about how does someone opt in, kind of what Rimmer was mentioning, if these 6 wells get placed. Can't be Leica, but what would that process look like for others?
Yeah, so the contaminant of concern started out with TCE, and that is a chlorinated hydrocarbon. It's also a DNAPL, so it's a little interesting because unlike petroleum products that float on the water, it sinks. So it makes it a little trickier to test for and to clean up, right? But it does go through a natural attenuation process. And I think based on some of the things they've already been doing, they have proven to some degree that natural attenuation is happening. But the way that you need to test for this is, when he was talking about the nested wells, we just basically got, just to give you guys some idea of the cost on why we wouldn't want to go just start out with putting wells everywhere, is that you want to be strategic on where you place them. So we need to look at the groundwater flow direction and see if there's areas where data gaps, basically. So the nested wells, one would be shallow in the superficial aquifer, and then you would penetrate through the confining unit, and it's very careful. That's why these wells are expensive, because you don't want to allow a pathway down to the underlying aquifer beneath the confining unit. So the clay is at about, I think, 14 feet, and it varies in depth. So we would be looking at previous boring logs that have been done to get a better understanding of the stratigraphy and where and how. So we basically kind of got an estimate for, that would be 12 wells, 6 pairs, just to give you an idea of the cost. Now, after reviewing the data, we might learn that we would only need to put in two of these nested wells, but we wanted to kind of give you a ballpark on the cost. So the number would be determined, again, as Rimmer said, based on what's already been done and where they're lacking data.
Thank you very much. Anybody else have a question? No? Really appreciate that. This was on the agenda one time before and we pulled it off, and I made the phone call and you explained it, and I want to thank you for coming and explaining it to the rest of the board, because it makes sense to have y'all review the numbers and testings that have already been done before we just go start drilling. So thank y'all, and if we have a motion by the board to move
So
forward.
moved.
You got a motion by Alderman Stennis,
Second.
second by Alderman Hinton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank
Look
you,
forward to
sir.
starting the process.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. We move on to public hearings. We have a public hearing to adopt resolution for the 2025-26 uniform assessment schedule. We have a motion to open the public hearing. Got a motion by Alderman Wade, second by Alderman Blackman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're in public hearing. Do we have anybody that wants to address this? Yes, we'll just, is there anybody here from the public that would like to speak for or against this assessment? Okay, if we do not, is
I
there
move
a
to,
motion to close the public hearing?
so move.
Got a motion by Alderman Hinton, second by Alderman Blackman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, we're out of public hearing. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution for the 2025-26 uniform assessment schedules? Roll call vote.
Can I just ask one question, just to get clarity? I brought up in the last meeting, the difference between the state tax commission and the Department of Revenue. Did that get cleared up? Because it still references state tax commission in the document.
Did we get
It
that?
changed it on the one on the previous one. If it's not changed on this one, I'll change it.
Okay, just I asked that question. That was it.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution adopting the 25-26 uniform assessment schedule.
Okay, you got a motion, Alderman Blackman, second by Alderman Wade. Roll call.
Aye.
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 Okay, ayes have it. Okay, our next public hearing will be rescinding or termination of the urban renewal plan. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing? And a motion-
Second.
Motion by Alderman Stennis, second by Alderman Hinton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Okay, we're in public hearing. Alderman Stennis, do you want to address this, or? would you like to-
Yes, we're trying to do away with the urban renewal plan, we've moved it back to the Aldermen for it to be under our, we're in charge of it, and no longer with the RDA, because we have done away with the RDA. So, this is a public hearing that we have to go through in order to do away with the URP. And so many of you know what the URP urban renewal plan was, and we've thought about that and think that it's best that we can do our own if we need to.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak for or against? Mr. Gibb?
Joe Jewell, Ward 3. I support this effort to remove the urban renewal plan. I'm glad to hear that this Board of Aldermen support that effort, and I would encourage all of y'all to vote to remove this. The mayor not to override that should y'all do that. I'm convinced that y'all are going to do the right thing. As y'all know, this is one of the sticking points in the previous administration that caught most of the public comments and the public ire with this, what I feel is a targeted urban renewal plan. Not only were the people not included in the initial assessment of the plan, but the plan targeted the community, the minority community, as a blighted community. And that set the pathway for a lot of acrimony and animosity between our elected officials and our citizens. And I would hope that our board now sets this right. Now, as I said before, I stood up here, Mayor Holloway, in the previous administration, I'm not opposed to an urban renewal plan. But this plan, y'all are on the right path, needs to be removed. And if y'all so choose to do another urban renewal plan, I will not be in opposition to that. And I think most of our community will not be in opposition to that, but that they be included. From the very beginning, our minority community, even our businesses downtown, be included in that plan should y'all so decide to move in that direction. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Gray?
Good evening. How y'all doing? I concur with Joe Jewell. And let me say this has been 2 years worth of work, not just on my part, but on We Shall Not Be Moved, the organization that was a grassroots movement to get this brought to the light and brought to attention. So, and when we talk about this urban renewal plan, and when you look at the areas that they have identified, and absolutely they was redlined and it was targeted. What people don't understand is I grew up in that neighborhood and still a part of that neighborhood, and that's where my roots are. What we need to understand is that we are not going anywhere. We helped build this city just like everybody else. And we should have a stake at the table and should be talked to, not say this is what you're going to do or what you're going to monitor. Because I can go through every last one of these wards and find homes that need work done. The killing part is when you look at Macedonia and then you look at that piece of property adjacent to the east of it and you say you will monitor that. That's wrong. And when you look when all these homes were put on a website without their permission. That is wrong. Now, what needs to take place is that we need to apologize to the ones that were affected by this, because at the end of the day, we're still here, and these developers come in and take stuff. It's a land grab and go. I don't know what everybody thinks it is, but I can tell you this: we must be rich on paper, because the land is valuable. Because when we were on the north side of the railroad track, because they was put Highway 90 in there, coming through there, they moved it to the south side of the railroad track. That was to keep the African American community from learning. That's what it was when those homes were built there next to the railroad track. But that didn't happen. Thank God for Ms. Keys for allowing Elizabeth H. Keys to educate the minority community. Thank God for that. Thank God for Reverend Trotter, the first black alderman of Ocean Springs, that came in to look after his kids, his community. I'm just filling the gap. I'm just one person. But thank God for the ones who are here tonight and the ones who actually put the work in. And we got some senior citizens that can't get up there and do what we do. Thank God for them. My aunt is 90 years old, ain't mad at it. When all this stuff first happened, she said, check, that's my nickname. She said, do what you need to do, and I'll sign any document that you need me to sign, because I know you're gonna do the right thing. So what I'm saying is, I'm asking this board to do the right thing, and you guys know what to do. It's not even debatable, because I'm telling you, we have lost friendship over this. Stop speaking to people over this. People are caught off guard, and also people just walking around and not speaking to people, because guess what? It's wrong. And I ask God to give us a clear heart, because there was some strife and malice, and I'll be up here lying and say if I wasn't mad. Yes, I was mad. Disappointed, because I thought that we have a better relationship, that we can talk to each other and have a conversation. And that's what it's all about. Just having a conversation and talking to people and not pushing them aside and say, oh, we're just gonna do what we wanna do. No, it's not like that. And the residents, they own that property and they have a voice, and they should be able to do whatever they need to do with their own property. But at the same time, you put those code enforcement officers out there, if they're not in compliance, then there we go with the citation. Step number 1. 2, if you don't do this, this is gonna be the next step. So as long as we follow the procedures, and everybody up here who ran for office, we talk about transparency, that's what needs to take place. Transparency. Get your property cleaned up. If it's not up to standard, then you go and you start issuing these citations and these fines, and we're gonna be fine. And there's nothing else they can do about it then, because everybody's on the same level playing field. So thank you so much, and I appreciate the work that you guys are doing.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Greg, what was that nickname?
Check. C-H-E-C-K.
Ms. Ellie?
Thanks, Greg. I'm so glad you speak up, and I hope you all do the same for our residents. But the Urban Renewal Act, doing some research on that when this first came out a couple of years ago, I found that this was something that was brought in the last century, mid last century, to get rid of urban decay. That was the reason. Invading slums and blight. Ocean Springs had been named the best coastal city in the United States, and I thought it was a joke when I heard that they were actually trying to apply that here. But it's a great little trick for the developers to get funding and grants and things like that. And that's what they're using it for, 100 years later, 75 years later, whatever. But it hurts people, it hurts residents. Nobody asks them to do this. This is not the community's request. This would have been used. It's a joke that it's being used. And it's all about money. It's all about money. And if we look back at all the things that we oppose, it's because you're listening to the people who want the money over the residents who are here. They're not asking for these things. So please, please start listening to the residents. It's time. it's time. You guys all ran on that platform, and I don't hear you guys saying that. I hear a couple of you saying it, and I don't hear you as a group saying that. So please, start listening. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mr. Bill?
William Betterton, Ward 1. Urban renewal, the big push after World War II, they went in and moved minorities and the people living on the margins. Urban renewal, got rid of the slums. Rich people got richer. We started out in the urban areas. Claiborne Street in New Orleans became I-10. Now they want to reverse that one. Scars throughout the country in small towns. Urban renewal, still there today. 50s, 60s, 70s, they went and bought swaths of property. This is what we're going to do. Never happened. Commend you for even talking about this. Development. Development's not downtown. Development is citywide. Wherever the city limits is, development. It's not urban. Take urban out of it. Development, city development. No urban to it. Everybody's involved. Everybody. All businesses, all citizens have a say. Transparency, what you ask for. Let's see some. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Anybody else like to address the board? No? Do we have a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Alderman Wade, second by Alderman Hinton. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Okay, is there a motion to approve or deny the roll call vote?
I'd like to make a motion.
I was just gonna have a little discussion real quick. I would like to offer an apology to anybody that the urban renewal plan affected personally. And that was it.
A motion?
I'd like to request a motion to authorize the city attorney to prepare a resolution terminating the urban renewal plan, including necessary findings and administrative directives for board consideration at the next regular meeting.
Second.
Got a motion by Alderman Stennis, second by Alderman Hinton. Roll call?
Aye.
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 Okay, ayes have it. Good, thank you all. Okay, we have agenda public comment. The public is invited to address the board for up to 5 minutes each, maximum period of 30 minutes only regarding issues listed on this agenda. Please identify yourself and the agenda item.
Joe Jewell, Ward 3. I listened to the presentation. I want to comment on item 2B, the Corps from Covington Engineering contract that was just approved. I have a couple comments. One is, when I first read the proposal, it was a little confusing because they asked for a FOIA request. And FOIA requests are typically done for federal documents. Public records requests are generally done at state level, the municipality, or those type of instances. So I thought they were going to do a federal review. But in hearing the comments from the engineer and the geologist, it appears that they're going to do all records, the state records too. So I think it probably was more accurate to say FOIA and public records requests, because it's a little confusing. And then the second comment I want to make on this contract with Covington is that when this contract is drawn up, that it have a termination value to it, the $6,750, and that it not be an open-ended contract like we had with our previous administration. I'm perfectly okay with the contractor coming back and saying, we may have miscalculated, or we ran into additional issues that we did not anticipate happening. I think that's perfectly acceptable, but this board and the mayor should review that request and it not just be signed off. And we've had contracts that went into the hundreds of thousands of dollars that were just very small at the very beginning. So I would caution this administration and all the veterans at this now, and I know the public, I'm one of the people that stood up multiple times and commented about that, put that cap on there for your own protection of the citizens. I appreciate that. And then the second public comment I want to make is, I looked at the agenda and I see there's several committees there that are going to be realigned, proposed, there's new members of the committee that are going to be voted on. I'm glad I made contact with you, because at your very first meeting, this Board of Aldermen voted to reestablish the tree committee. And I've not really heard anything from that since. I've not really commented on that because I expected y'all to get those footing, feel y'all's way before we went on to something like that. But I would encourage y'all at some point to take that up as an item on the agenda and vote on it as y'all did previously. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, anybody else?
William Patterson, Ward 1. Two things I want to talk about. 6A, formation of temporary committee and the lobbying services. Congratulations for following up on the ordinance review. And the one for the UDC, is that right? Yep. Good, you're getting citizens' input from the deck plate, on the bottom, okay? People being on these committees is good. I would like to see an alderman rotate through these meetings so they have input and know what's being discussed. Okay? The hard part about this is when you have recommendations ready, the report back to the planning department. Why not report back to the executive committee who's giving you the taskings to go find and have recommendations? Let that executive committee review in a work group, send that down to the planning department, planning committee. You set the rules for the planning committee, correct? Okay. Just want to get that clear. Also, ordinances. Your job is to feed back to the mayor, correct? And the mayor's job is to feed back to department heads to make them follow the ordinances internally and externally for all the items. Enforcement. Why not report that back through? If the planning department's going to be in between, back to the Board of Aldermen as a working group. They can ask the questions they need to clear up things before they go forth with a rewrite or a revision. Okay? Why go to the department head? You set the rules. They don't. You tell them what to do. They don't tell you how to do it. Lobbyists. How many years are we gonna beat the can down the road on lobbyists because of trouble? There's a lot of money out there for grants, things, whatever. You gotta go find the right firm or the right group that's gonna just 360 everything they can get for this city. No matter if it's out on the interstate, Highway 90 and 57, or downtown. It's gotta be a 360 for the entire city, not a focal point of the entertainment district.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Anyone else like to address the board?
Mayor, Alderman, background in civil engineering, and first want to congratulate you for moving forward, trying to understand what's going on with the Leica property, making sure that you have a basis for what's there and where it's moved to. I also want to congratulate you on the vote on the urban renewal plan. Nice job.
Thank you.
A lot of you guys ran on both those items, and it's good to see that moving forward. But background in civil engineering, I managed.
What item are we going to address? What item on the agenda are we?
It's the Covington engineering. Sorry.
Okay, 2B.
So, I have a background in civil engineering work. I managed a big program to evaluate, remediate, and close a lot of oil and gas pits located in Mississippi and Louisiana. And I have no doubt that the civil engineer and the geologist that talked to you tonight can help you understand where things are moving But one thing the city might understand, and maybe you've already addressed this early on in this process, maybe hire an independent toxicologist that can help us all understand what the risks are of what it is that's moving around. And I know there's been a lot of talk in the past about what's there, how dangerous it is, but to understand the problem and what our approach may be on the final remediation, I think really sort of having an independent assessment of the toxicology and the risk associated with what it actually is. That's not something that a civil engineer or a geologist can help you understand. So that's all I just wanted to add and listen to that presentation.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Anyone else like to address the board? No? Okay, we'll move on to old business. Formation of temporary committees for the UDC and ordinance review. Mr. Hinton, would you like to address it?
Yes, I would. So back on August 5th, I made a motion to form 2 committees that would do the UDC and the ordinance review committee. After thinking about it, I think if we pick and consolidate down to one committee that would do the UDC review first and then follow with doing the ordinance review. Before you, I've printed out and gave each of y'all the talking points about the purpose, mission, and also Shannon has some information she would like to provide with that also. So, Shannon.
I do.
Well, I mean, you have the memo.
That was it. I was just bringing it out for discussion tonight.
Okay.
Yep.
You want to
So, are we
go over
discussing?
the composition?
Yes.
Okay.
So the composition of the committee will consist of 7 representatives, 1 representative from each ward as nominated, and 1 by the at-large. All representatives must be provided by majority vote by the Board of Aldermen. Actions of the committee, the review committee may take recommendations and actions to the Board of Aldermen. A recommendation may be made upon the majority vote of the committee as recorded in the minutes of the committee. So, do any of the aldermen have any questions?
I'm gonna have a couple. All right, so initially we had said 2 committees, 1 for ordinance, 1 for UDC. And now tonight you're saying maybe that could be accomplished with 1.
Correct.
Start with UDC, when they're done with that work, look at ordinances.
Correct.
What about the annexation? What is the timeline for wrapping that up, and doesn't this make it move a little slower? I thought we had a certain time period for this annexation
This
thing.
has nothing to do with the
But
annexation.
this feeds into the stuff for the blueprint
So
or
we're gonna have to
the
make,
comp plan.
we're gonna have to make a separate motion for the annexation to the comprehensive plan, and that will coincide with this committee also. So that will be something that the Board of Aldermen will work on, the comprehensive plan, get that ball rolling on.
But it would kind of be
Yeah, the
through the work,
2010.
the way I'm envisioning this, you would have these temporary committees poring over the UDC and your ordinances that then would help shape your comp plan. So is there a tandem action that can occur? or
We're
is
gonna
it
have to make a motion to adopt the newly annexed area into our 2010 comp plan for rezoning. So that's gonna have to take place, and I would like to go ahead and get the committee moving forward at looking at the UDC and the ordinances to clarify where the discrepancies are.
That's what I mean, I just want to look at this as a whole
Yeah,
picture of how this is all
they're
going to
gonna
feed.
all, flow together.
It will help, definitely have it.
I think it has to be this to do the other. Is there a deadline I thought we had for the annex part of the?
We were going to dig in on this, this coming week to try to make sure we don't pass that up. But like Matthew said, we will have to adopt the zoning into the existing comprehensive plan. And then in the meantime, after that's done, then we can start moving forward with the new adjustments to the comp plan and
The updated version of the comp plan.
Anybody else
Anybody else have any questions?
Just trying to figure out how this is all gonna work. pieces apart.
One other thing that I wanted to add is, we're kind of overloaded with our planning department. I did reach out and see if there's any of the engineering firms that have a planner on hand that could actually manage the committee and would be willing to do so, and then be part of that committee, and then to bring the presentation to the planning committee after they had their findings of their committee.
And then presumably to us.
And then present it to the board. So that planner, it'd be a third-party planner, wouldn't be involved in anything that would help steer the committee. So that's just a thought also, if y'all would like to consider that.
Did you want to speak to anything, Amanda, about how this would work with you, or?
No, that's okay. I agree with the mayor.
And they said they would like to work closely with you, so
Absolutely.
they would let you know what all's going on. I just know you're overloaded trying to get your feet on the ground, and you don't need to be tackling this at the same time.
So there's gonna be a cost for this?
Yes, there'd be an hourly fee, and if y'all are interested, I will get that proposal from the engineering firms. I think one or two of the firms might have a planner that I can get a couple from to bring back.
It would be for these temp committee, but also could lead into UDC. So I'm asking only, I'd like to just make sure we check their experience, make sure they have kind of a municipal understanding.
Yes.
At what point are we going to nominate these people?
So,
Go ahead.
Is that going to be done in the board meeting?
So
or
what I would like to do and recommend to the Board of Aldermen of my motion was for each of us to pick somebody from our wards and at large to nominate to the committee to work on that. And that would be, I'd like to see that back for our first meeting in October to nominate each of us. So.
Have your selections for the first meeting in October. We need.
Mayor, I apologize, may I say something?
Yes, sir.
Just a quick question. This is ordinances, this isn't going to include our flood ordinance, is it? Okay, thank you.
You want to change them?
No.
It's
just more than just voted on.
No, so we just need a motion to move forward. I mean, I guess we already actually made a motion last meeting, or a couple meetings ago to do this.
This is just an update.
But it'll be for
Just an
one
update.
committee, I guess. We had said
Instead of
two.
doing two, we can just move forward with one. I think that'll be easier.
And one thing about having one committee, these people are going to get very invested into it, and the knowledge of the UDC flows into with the ordinances also. So it kind of in tandem works together with one committee. So, yeah, so,
First meeting in October, I'd like to have the.
yeah. Like to, you want to make a motion or?
Go ahead.
All right, like to make a motion that our first meeting in October, that we, the Board of Aldermen will nominate members to the review committee.
I'll second that.
Got a motion by Alderman Hinton, second by Alderman Wade. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Order that for the first meeting in October. All right, consent agenda. Does anyone have anything to pull from the consent agenda?
7E is an Edward.
Anybody else?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda minus item 7E.
Okay, got a motion by Alderman Blackman.
Second.
Second by Alderman Wade. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Alderman Blackman, 7E.
Mayor, just need to make an addition to that application. I'll read it as it needs to read. Approve the special events permit application for relative race season 17 filming on October 13th, 2025 from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Inner Harbor Park or Fort Maurepas at no cost to the city. The applicant pays the associated event cost. We're just adding or Fort Maurepas to that.
Okay, got
Second that.
a motion and a second by Alderman Pfeiffer. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Move on to department reports. Docket of claims. Does anyone have anything to pull from the docket of claims? If not, is there a motion to approve the docket of claims?
Make a motion to approve the docket of claims. All expenditures are appropriate and authorized by law, and spread the summary on the minutes.
Second. Got a motion by Alderman Blackman, second by Alderman Wade. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, city clerk. Authorize the adjustment of water sewer accounts due to the finding that the customers did not receive the benefit of the utility and the excess usage was due to unforeseen circumstances. Anyone have any questions about the sewer adjustments? If not, is there a motion to authorize the sewer?
So moved.
A motion by Alderman Hinton. Second by Alderman Messenger. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. General public comment. Anyone else like to address the board for up to 5 minutes? Doc?
It won't be close to 5 minutes. Bill Moore, Ward 2. I had a very quick question. Trying to think of Rob Blackman's question about the sidewalk, although that is much longer. That School Street, the pavement, is that still?
That is still ongoing. We are trying to get the paving contractor here. I think we might be reaching out to see if we can find anybody that can do it sooner. But we're trying to get it paved as fast as we can. It's just not happening very fast.
And then, and I would put on my chamber hat real quick, a public service announcement. Thursday, we'll have business after hours. I hope all of y'all will be able to attend. It's at J. Lori Boutique here on Washington. Usually a very fun event. She does a good job putting on with a couple other businesses. She's going to sponsor on Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. And then Mississippi Songwriters Festival is this weekend, predominantly at the Mary C. But just check it out. There's lots of good things going on in the coming 4 or 5 days. And yeah, several restaurants definitely.
Yeah, that kicks off Thursday night, the Hall of Fame, right? Induction at the Mary C. So that's going to be really big. Thank you, Doc. Bill?
William Batterton, Ward 1. We'll start out with the police department. Good job, chief. You know, if you're not watching the tractor at the docket at the ADC, you need to. It gives you a kind of a pulse of what the police department's doing on a daily basis. Yes, they have the mandatory arrest, okay? But they're also interacting with the people who are not acting right in town. Drunks. Okay, getting in a fight, not paying attention, not listening, they have to get arrested, okay? Kind of gives you a pulse what the police are doing. And you look at the report.
Mr. Bill, please.
2,000 contacts.
Mr. Bill.
in a month.
Mr. Bill.
That's a lot.
Address the board, please. Not Thank you.
Okay? You need to, okay? Police doing a good job out there, shaking the bushes. The other ones going to the ADCs, you're really not listening and paying attention. They earned that ride, okay? Golf cart parking. You each talk transparency. There was no transparency on marking the streets down there. Golf cart parking. I saw nothing until I rolled through there, golf cart parking. We're just 2 or 3 days later, you start getting these news reports. But the city didn't come out and say, this is our plan. Because it was discussed, last administration, what they were going to do. They started paving and grinding and paving and, okay, we're going to mark streets after a given time, but nobody in the administration came out and said, this is our plan, this is how we're going to monitor it, this is what we're going to look for downstream. Yes, I parked in golf cart parking. My truck identified as a golf cart that day. Golf carts are parking all over the place in car parking. Cars are parking in golf cart parking. What did we get? People and their hair on fire again over golf carts. All I gotta say.
Thank you.
Joe Jewell, Ward 3. First of all, I want to say y'all are doing a good job. I can't believe I keep saying that every time, but y'all keep exceeding my expectations. UDC, I really appreciate the vote that y'all took in our community day. Mayor Cox. It's great to see you walk in this room just about every time I've been in here with that smile on your face.
I'll try to.
I know you're in a tough position, but you're the person that the citizens have elected to that, and you have done a wonderful job. Now, in saying that, I want to say, first preface this, that I have no ill intent with these comments, and I have no malice in these comments. I'm a long-term citizen of this community. I have ancestral roots in the foundation of this community, and I'm making these comments that I feel is the best interest of this city. So we talked about the city contract for the city attorney last time. I want the board to take this back up. I want to make several comments, because I know Mr. Harris addressed me personally, and Mr. Alon at the last meeting singled us out. Now, as y'all, at least 3 of y'all on this board know, how the previous administration singled out community citizens that stood up here and made comments that were adverse to their opinions and their votes to try and intimidate them. And I want to say this, you know, Mr. Harris, a couple things. He incorrectly claimed that the state law required the Board of Aldermen to contract with him for a year term once his contract period ended. This is factually not true, and it does reflect on his character and integrity. 211541 discusses interim appointments. It never mentions in there attorney at all. I'm assuming that he was assuming it was a contract position, and that it was specifically addressing the attorney position. But it doesn't say that, and I'm assuming that all of y'all have read that regulation at this point, but it does. It mentions 90-day interim positions over and over and over, not 1-year appointments. He also has little, and I've made the statement before, he has little to no municipal experience. Experience is in another field with personal injury. So Mr. Harris recorded a vote in favor to keep the capacity city attorney Robert Wilkerson. The board had to correct this false vote in a public meeting. This clearly is a conflict of interest, as his father is the judge hearing the security scandal to which Wilkerson is a party. The case files were sealed from the public by Judge Harris and only partially unsealed because of disclosure of a conflict by the Coast Wire reporter, David Rhodes. We would have never known that had not he at least reported on it. Mr. Harris advised the Board of Aldermen they cannot discuss executive sessions under penalty of law, which is not a true statement at all. It's misleading. Executive sessions cannot be used to block transparency except under very narrow circumstances. So if y'all were to go into, I'll give examples that I think are legally correct. If y'all were to go into executive session and discuss employment, a person's salary, a person's social security, things that involve the dates of birth, disciplinary actions, those are absolutely shielded. But if you discuss actions by the city that affect the public, those absolutely can be disclosed. It's a very narrow interpretation of the law to self-benefit. And for those reasons, I ask that y'all terminate the contract with this attorney and set out to find a new attorney immediately. Thank you.
How you doing?
How are y'all doing? Bill Thompson, Ward 3. I'm just gonna make this quick. I'm just gonna say that I personally feel that we have the best town in Mississippi. We are the coolest, Ocean Springs is a great place to live. And I feel like we've grown enough to where y'all deserve a full-time city attorney. That is at City Hall, that is a city worker, that is not contracted. I feel like the city and the residents will be served much better by this, and I ask you to look at the current budget that the city clerk put together. And if you look at it, she did a fantastic job. The majority of the savings in the budget, for instance, for the police department, we save $35,000 by getting an in-house mechanic instead of third-party contracting out. And if you can go through the budget, you could see multiple examples of where the city is saving money on getting rid of a third-party contract and having a full-time city employee. So that being said, I worked hard knocking on a lot of doors to get most of y'all elected, and I know most of y'all are Republicans, and I'm asking that you be a fiscally responsible Republican, fiscally conservative Republican, and get a full-time city attorney. It will save us money in the long run, or in the short term. It's gonna save us money, and I feel like y'all will be better suited and the citizens will be better represented by a full-time city attorney. And again, there's plenty of examples within the budget where we save money from doing this exact same thing. So just look at the budget, and please, I'm asking that you cancel the current contract and restart the search for a full-time city attorney. That's all.
Ellen Hall, I won't repeat everything that they said. I agree with everything that they said. I feel that we deserve a full-time city attorney that can review everything, not just this meeting or a contract you've got ongoing or the litigation, but everything. Policies, procedures, ordinances, everything. He's living here. He's there whenever you need him. As somebody that knows municipal law. I was very disappointed that there was a RFP process in January, and then another one in May that had deadlines. You had to have your RFP in or you were disqualified. And then, Bobby puts up a nomination for David Harris, and he wasn't even one of those. He said he's an interim, which I actually recommended an interim, and I actually submitted an interim solution for free. I had several attorneys who had agreed to put in their time and do this for free for 3 months, extending to 6 months, for free. Again, we'll say that, for free. And instead you paid $144,000 equivalent to somebody who has virtually no municipal experience. It's known as a different type of attorney. And with all the things that they brought up about mistakes or misinterpretations or whatever, that was adequate reason to not go forward with this same attorney. And not to mention the conflicts of interest. Not to mention that the very contract that you guys approved was the one he basically reviewed and wrote for you, I'm assuming, because you didn't have another attorney. And it didn't have a conflict of interest clause in it or anything from what I understand. And there is a conflict of interest, just like Joe just mentioned. It's astounding. It's really astounding that you would go for paying $144,000 plus he has the right to hire other attorneys to help him without getting your approval, and he can bill you more if he needs to, and we were going to do it for free. Why? And I had 2 years of municipal experience just working, learning the UDC, the municipal code. I mean, I gave one of you guys the book I have because I'm leaving the state. I know a lot of people will be happy, especially developers. But I had that thing all highlighted and marked because I knew it so well, and I was willing to do it for free. And I only care about you. I wasn't going to get any money, and I don't have anything to gain, and no one even interviewed me. And I found out none of you saw my proposal for my group of attorneys that had agreed to do this until the day of the vote for him. It's astounding to me. So, guys, get with it. We are trying to help you. And I feel like you're doing everything you can to not help yourselves. You need an attorney you trust, that you know that the answers are right. And if you don't feel comfortable, just Google it. I asked all of you that were on the board last time, which is 2 of you, 3 of you, did you Google the Redevelopment Act to find out that eminent domain was a major part of that and the reason for going through with it? And nobody had. I wasn't familiar with it at the time. I Googled it, and in 15 seconds, I found out eminent domain was a primary reason that developers go with this. And yet, you guys, I remember like a month later, I think it was Ricky Aldermen, he was like, eminent domain, we didn't know that. And I'm like, Google it. Just Google it, but you should be able to trust your city attorney to be able to tell you this. That wasn't David Harris at the time, but yet, then when you get rid of that attorney, Robert Wilkinson, that we all knew was part of the whole Securix scandal, you bring him back on and to have him finish up. If any of your kids had been molested by the nanny, would you go ahead and keep the nanny for another couple weeks because it was gonna cost more to get a new nanny? Or because you didn't have a nanny, so you had to hire that same nanny again to keep with your kids? The answer would be no. I'm sorry to use that sickening analogy, but you keep on with the same that you know is wrong because it's easier or cheaper. We deserve better. Thank you.
Anyone else like to address the board? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Haley Hill, Ward 4. Someone else had brought it up, and I'm really glad. I'm hoping y'all can clarify this. If you can, refer me to the police department. What are the rules for the golf cart parking and car parking downtown?
Right now, it is definitely work in progress. When the work is complete, there will be an ordinance completed for just that, and it will be put out for everybody to hear and see. But right now, we're asking everybody to try to abide by the spots, park in the correct spots, and if you do, it flows very, very nicely. If you choose not to and you want to identify your truck as a golf cart, it will clog up Government Street. So, there is no perfect answer. This is something we are doing and we're trying. We want to give it our best effort. But the ordinance will be put in place. There will be signage, and moving forward, it will be clear. Just it's not complete at this time.
Okay. And then just wanted to comment, it hurts to hear us talk about, different communities in Ocean Springs. We all know we're all one community. I don't know the history of the urban development plan. I'm kind of ignorant on that, but whatever caused this division in our community of people feeling like, we gotta stick together as a minority community. I'm a mixed race household. There is no division, there is no minority community. We are all one community, I just want to say that, business residents alike.
Okay, is there anybody else like to address the board? Yes, sir. Mike.
Mike Lon, we plan on speaking twice tonight. I would only speak once, not frequently, but anyway, Mayor and Alderman, I wanted to talk very briefly about the sourcing process for the city attorney. And I actually have to give credit for what I'm about to say to my dear friend Mike Whitney. So if you disagree with this, you can direct your comments toward him. Mike and I worked at the same company for a long time, and we were sort of trained by the same people. One of the things that in our employment really emphasized was best practices. And Mike and I were talking about sourcing of the city attorney, and he sent me a statement that he had found around sourcing the city attorney in a aldermanic government. That's what we have. We have an alderman city government with the mayor. And the information suggested that the best practice for hiring a new city attorney is to prepare the RFP. You could have the city clerk prepare it. When I spoke last time, I suggested to the alderman that they not parse that out to somebody in HR to prepare the RFP, to be involved in it. But in this statement, it says have the RFP drafted to get input from the board. And that's one of the things I wanted to emphasize. It's an important position. And my prayer is that all of you will be looking at this RFP and you'll have the discussion that you need to have on what we're going to ask the city attorney to do. And I also spoke at the last meeting on my deep feeling, and I think that Megan suggests this, is a city attorney provides much greater service to the city if he or she is not litigating lawsuits at the same time that the city's involved in. And that's the model we've had in the past for a long time. And there are many of us that don't believe that that has served the city well. And I was thinking about that when we were talking earlier about the urban renewal plan. Again, I congratulate you for the decision you made tonight. I can't tell you how painful it feels when you have a dispute with the city and the city attorney is the one that's litigating against you, and you have no recourse through yourself or through your attorneys to talk with that person that you think is representing you. And one of the great reasons to have a full-time city attorney is that they can more easily avoid these conflicts of interest. And we've had that model in the past. I really don't believe that serves us well. Whatever you do, whether it's a city employee or a contract private practice attorney, I just beg that you consider in your RFP document that you preclude whomever you hire from litigating the lawsuits that the city gets involved in. You can hire another, if you have to litigate, there will be examples of that. The city attorney can overlook the process to hire someone to litigate the lawsuits. The city attorney can afford to sit back then and look, how can this lawsuit be resolved? Because one of the key responsibilities of a city attorney or a corporate attorney or any attorney that's working for, a private business even, is to keep lawsuits from cascading, lasting 2-3 years, hundreds of thousands of dollars being spent on either side. That's happened in our city. We need a process. We need a process and an RFP document that gives us the right city attorney and defines the role for the city attorney, that we have someone that's serving the entire city, including yourselves. You guys got a lot of stuff you want to work on. I know you do. You've already done a lot in just a few months that you've been elected, and I congratulate you for that. I think the city attorney sort something right. Mr. Harris can apply for that job if he wants. But importantly, let's define what we want the city attorney to do and how and who we're going to hire. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else like to address the board? If not, we'll move on to Mayor and Alderman's forum. Mr. Tillis, you have anything?
Yeah, I had a few things. School Street, and we've already addressed that. Hopefully we can get that done pretty quickly. Been a lot of comments on that. I know it's been brought up a couple of times. Alan, do we get that speed sign on Ocean Springs Road fixed?
No, we got to order a new card for the program it with.
Okay, because it looks like I think one of them was working.
One of them at Raleigh Road is working, it's working proper, but the one down by Dina still just cuts off when you get over speed limit.
Right.
But it's a little chip we got to get to put in it to get it reprogrammed.
Steve, I went down that road yesterday, and I noticed the same thing. That was one of the things I was trying to call you about today. So the one on the southern side of Ocean Springs is out, not working at all. The one on the north is. But there's such a big gap in between. I'm kind of thinking we might need 2 more in between to catch people's attention where they hit those. I mean, I wanted to wake people up coming south on Ocean Springs Road.
The one at Dina, what it does is once you get over the 30 mile an hour, it just cuts off and a little blue light flashes. But the one at Raleigh Road, it'll say slow down, it'll start flashing slow down when you get over speed limit.
And in between that one and the next one is just a big gap. I mean, at least 1 more in between would be good.
Yeah, well, I don't have a problem. I mean, those things have been up almost 4 months, and they haven't worked properly since then. So
the one by Riley was working good yesterday when I went through, so I'd appreciate it if we could.
We thought we could use the same chip to program both of them, but it didn't work.
Okay.
They said each one's got their own individual serial number it has to go by.
oh, okay, that's all I have.
Okay.
I have a couple of things. Rayburn Avenue, I guess I'm just looking at a timeline. Got the church calling, let them know about that and whether they can get the rest of that milled up. They have a drainage problem there.
I'll see him tomorrow and get the timeline.
Okay, and I also have a constituent on Bowen that when we have festivals, she cannot get out of her driveway, and it's not because they're blocking the driveway, they're parking across the street, and the street's too narrow for them to back out without hitting a car. And I was wondering if we could put a no parking sign, like a permanent one. Yeah, it's on the corner of Bowen and Belandi. Ashbaker.
So that's just just one sign?
Yeah.
I mean, it kinda, I mean, they park all the way up and down Bowen and.
Well,
Definitely.
on her side of the street, there's no parking, but on the other side of the street, there is parking, but when there's parking, she can't even get out of the driveway, even if it's on the opposite side. Yeah.
Maybe we need to look at all the driveways and opposite any driveways,
Yeah.
might need to be a two spots of no parking so they can back up. Thank you. Is that all you have, Ms. Karen?
I think so.
All right, Alderman Wade?
The sidewalk at the upper, going into that driveway, I think that Thursday or Friday at Cruising the Coast are they gonna be closed? See if we might be able to get that taken care of, because it's crumbling. I don't know if it was too wet or what the problem was, but it's coming up.
That's the new drive going into the parking lot?
Yes, it's flaking up.
If we could maybe just cut it across there and then pour that section.
Is that the last piece they poured?
Yeah,
or
but they busted the old too, bad.
So like where the sidewalk was, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, the pad they poured and then the sidewalk.
Okay. That all you have?
That's all I got.
Hey, Ms. Shannon?
All right. I wanted to talk about a couple things as well. We got an email. I'm trying to remember where it originated. It could have been the MML's newsletter. And in there was a notice from MDOT for funding for transportation alternatives. So Carolyn kind of might involve you. Karen and Matt and I have talked about wanting to look at funding for what we can do to get sidewalks possibly, and I know there's stipulations because there's evacuation routes, however, it's back again. What we could do for Holcomb, Halsted, maybe Matt had a suggestion on a wider pathway at the part of Hanley, as there's a lot of bikers that come in and out where the old entrance to Hanley. So there might be criteria that we could meet on part of this. I could send it to you.
Yeah,
but
I mean, the
it could be
first thing
part
to
of
look
a-
at is where you want to do it, and then I can see if it meets that. That's the way to work into
Yeah.
those. The TA, they're good if you have big projects. They are not good for small projects, because they
I
won't.
mean, we can make it as big as we need.
Right, I mean,
And sidewalks.
And just so you know, when you get into MDOT federal highway funds, the smaller projects, you're gonna pay 3 times as much for engineering with all the required testing and whatnot, so it doesn't do good for anything less than $750.
Well,
It's cheaper to do it yourself.
I can say, and Rob can also, that, I mean, we just completed one of the longest sidewalk projects in the state. And it was an MDOT funded project, and all the restrictions that they put on it causes the price to go up.
So we just wanna be careful, make sure
But
meets all the criteria.
But now on Halsted and Holcomb and Shearwater, we were looking at sidewalks for people to walk to be able to get down to East Beach.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there is funding that we could possibly use for that.
And we'll look at that. The issue with getting, again, into the TA and getting into MDOT Federal Highway is they will require it to be wider than we have right-of-way. So that's where it may not be feasible. So that's, if you have those areas, we'll look at them and see if it matches up, or if there's another.
Some of that's gonna
Yeah, it's
require
not bad,
culverts
another-
put in. I mean,
Yeah.
ditches on Holcomb, if
Mailboxes
I fell in,
deep,
nobody would
driveways
see me.
deep.
I mean, they're deep.
We tried to do that on a section of Halsted a very long time ago, and it caused so much drama. We had to move everybody's mailboxes, everything. It just was, sometimes it doesn't work out. But yeah, any of those sections, we'll look at it and see if it lines up, and if not, if there's an alternate funding source.
Appreciate that.
We definitely want to ask the legislature for more sidewalk money also.
Yeah, I agree. And then the second item was, there was talk tonight about the RFP with the city attorney and the actions we took 2 weeks ago. And after that meeting, I also began to question, did we take the right action? I've looked at codes. And I think there was some things that were possibly misrepresented on some statutes. Some things I'd like to take a look at. I know we were all sent a draft RFP for legal services moving forward, but Mr. Alon addressed some things that I found were lacking in the new one. It doesn't close the loophole for allowing litigation, and it really does not address conflicts of interest, which have been repetitive problems with attorneys in the past. So I would really like to have a better look at that RFP and close those liabilities or issues that we've had and previous attorneys do a better job for our city with a better RFP.
The RFP was sent out today and should be advertised on Wednesday.
Yeah, I read that and
But
it's not.
your proposal that you sent in was looked at, I think, on Friday. And anything that we did not have in the RFP that was already ready to go, we tried to incorporate what could be put in the RFP. So
I guess that's
it was definitely taken into consideration, the whole clerk staff, everybody reviewed it.
So that was a question I had,
Really nice.
just based on your email. Is it because of a motion that was made in February that the RFP is what it is? And it really couldn't be tailored or changed?
No, we had the
much?
clerk staff and HR worked on the RFP and they put it together.
But if somebody like a board member would like to see it improved upon, how does
And you
somebody
sent
go about
You
that?
sent your proposals, and then that's when I brought it back to the staff, and they sat there and they reviewed it, went over it, and tried to incorporate everything that they could from your proposal into that RFP.
Right.
So, then it was sent out to the whole board that same afternoon or maybe the next morning for
got it
everybody
Friday.
to review. So if there was anything else, you could have sent
That's
it
what
back.
I'm saying,
Yeah,
like,
that would have been
so I
fine.
have concerns
But
we've
it was
left.
definitely reviewed and considered and looked at.
Right.
It wasn't ignored.
No, I'm not saying it was ignored, I'm just saying I feel we have some things that are left open that we could have done a better job with, up to and including conflicts of interest and outside litigation work. And I don't think that was addressed, and it was in my draft RFP, and I think those are two important points that we should consider.
Well, and we can, when the contract is actually written, then we can do that. Anything else? Rob?
Brought up last meeting, they wanted to look back into the moratorium on multifamily dwellings. So I'm gonna make a motion that, have the city clerk publish a notice for public hearing regarding the readoption of the 2024 resolution dated June 4th, 2024, placing a temporary moratorium for 1 year on submission and acceptance of applications for building permits for multifamily dwellings pursuant to Mississippi Code 17-1-15, published date September 21st, for the hearing to be held October 7th at the meeting. And this is, again, so we can look at infrastructure issues that we have throughout town, whether we can support any more of this right now.
Second.
Wait, is this for just discussion to second?
Yeah.
Okay,
We
good.
got a motion from Alderman Blackman, second from Alderman Tillis. Any discussion you want to have? Go ahead.
Can we talk more about multifamily definition? And because I know there's been confusion back and forth, does it cover condos, does it cover townhomes, duplexes, just apartments? So what is the definition of multifamily?
More than one family.
I think they all have kind of their own townhomes and condominiums all have different definitions. I mean, if you'd like to ask Mr. Harris to address.
Or Amanda, however
Or Amanda.
multifamily is, I just want to make sure we're capturing anything that could be considered multifamily, because I've felt in the past there was question about if condos apply or not. So if you could explain that.
I think that Mr. Alderman Blackman's motion was to re-adopt the moratorium that was previously been done, or to have a public hearing to talk about it, much like what just occurred with the URP, so that you can do your fact finding and any discussion you want about what would be contained in the resolution after you hear from those that may have an interest in the citizens. In the UDC, there is a different definition for multifamily, which is basically apartments where you can live on top of another person, different family units, as opposed to the definition of townhomes, as I understand it. And so that's what we looked into. But with regard to your discussion, I think that would be something that you would talk about during the public hearing after you hear what the stakeholders or the citizens have to say, so that you can make the appropriate findings for any resolution moving forward.
Right. I just want to make sure, I think there is a distinction that kind of gets made in the UDC where townhomes could be outside, or one of the types of, could be multifamily, but doesn't necessarily apply to the technical multifamily dwelling
Yeah, this is just to
definition.
move forward at this point.
No, I know,
yeah,
but
to
I think
get to a public
it's something
hearing.
to bring up that we want to make sure we understand the definition when it comes time to discuss, because I think that's been confusion, that's all.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Bob, the only other thing I have, and I can pull it up real fast here, is I'll give you the quick rundown. Julie and I have talked about some lighting with Singing River Electric. I don't know where you are with your list yet, but mine's pretty much complete. It's just a little small stretch of Government Street, very minimal cost. I'll forward everyone the email the cost, but I'll probably have that hopefully to the clerk's office from the engineer at Singing River this week or next to add a few lights there. And I know Ms. Messenger had some as well that she wanted to look at out in Ward 6. So may get a package deal where we're a little less cost for all that.
What area of Government Street there?
Between, let's say, Cane Break and Davis Bayou, it's just extremely dark in that curve.
Where the new little bridge is.
There's no lights there at all. And you got Ridgewood or Ridgeview coming out there and big curve. And somebody's already hit that bridge, both of them actually, so need to light that up a little. The other thing is for Stephen and Alan in conjunction, kind of, this Messenger and I met at Lemoyne Park this week because we pretty much share that park. And there's a list, and I will send an email this week to you guys of some action items that we need to take care of out there. I've spoken with you individually about a wish list, but she and I have worked together and come up with some things we want to see improved out there. So just look for that this week, and I'll meet with you and we'll discuss it some more too. That's all, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Rob. Ms. Julie?
And kind of to piggyback on what Mr. Blackman said, he's got some nice plans for the park out there, so I think it'll really spruce it up. I do have continued concerns about the vulgarities on the slide. I would like to see that remediated in a timely manner. I don't think it provides a positive image for our city. Secondarily, I had a long talk with Chief Fitch regarding some of the concerns out in Ward 6 and incorporating in the annexed area. We talked about flow rates of the hydrants out in Ward 6. Excuse me. And the concern about the location and distance of the hydrants in that area from a firefighting perspective. We don't have a shuttle truck to run water, so we'd have to recruit help with a larger fire from Gulf Park Estates Fire Department or the county possibly. We discussed, I would like to see an additional station out in Ward 6. I don't know if there's a possibility to coerce the city into giving us gifting us the Fountainblue Fire Department, if we could acquire that in some way. But I am concerned about the response time out there. And, you know, if we're delinquent on providing a quick response time to the annexed area, and I know this is all things, you know, these are all things you inherited, so I realize that. And then, you know, secondarily, would this, you know, affect our current fire rating and therefore prices for homeowners insurance if we're not, you know, meeting the standards? So I don't know if Chief Fitch has anything you might want to add?
Yes, ma'am, I would like to add.
Can I say one thing while you're coming up? We did have a lot of this discussion 2 years ago or so. The fire rating wouldn't be affected, but now the service definitely needs to be improved. I agree 100%. But as far as the rating goes, we're fine where we are. But there was a discussion about a potential partnership with Gaucher with the Brown Road Fire Station. That could be relooked at as well. If you know, if you got a relationship over there, maybe we could work that out where we partially man that station or something and put some equipment there, so that would be a cost savings until we can figure out the next move to possibly acquire some land and build a new station.
So I spoke with the Mississippi Rating Bureau, and we are right now providing far superior fire protection services than the county could have. With our resources and manpower, we are exceeding what they provided. Our response times are a little long, naturally, because of the expanded area. And spoke with this messenger about her concerns. We are going to have to address this before long, and we do have a few options. One option is to try to acquire the Fountain Blue Fire Station, and that could be reasonably, possibly, especially if Passable ends up annexing much of the east of the county. The Jackson County may want to reduce their maintenance costs and things of that nature. So with that being said, it is a very nice station. It's not the greatest location. I do like the location of being close to the high school and quick response time to our children. But for the rest of the ward, the rest of the county, it does have that extended time. As Mr. Blackman says, we could look at option 2 of partnering with Gaucher. That's really not a long-term solution, but that could be something that is very feasible, and it would be cost-effective. And then the last option would be possibly to build somewhere along the Sunflex, right, centrally located. That would probably be our best location. The last time we were audited by the Insurance Rate Bureau was 2022, and we are set to be audited again in 2027. The current rating that, from my understanding, I've reached out to the Mississippi Rate Bureau, and they could not give me a definitive answer, but the fire rating will take a hit according to population. And their system, they're transitioning systems right now for the calculation and their formulas, and he said it's going to be out for a couple of months. With the expected growth and the current growth, that we may already be there. So in 2027, we will be re-audited, and we don't want to be playing catch-up in 2 years. So this is something that we're definitely going to have to look at and come up with a plan.
That's what I was going to ask. So since you just identified that, you want to be ready for 2027.
Correct.
So, yeah, we'll need to
And we could have
slowly.
a plan A, plan B. We could reach out to Gaucher. I went and looked at that station just the other day, and it's a very nice station. It's large enough to man a couple fire crews, both Ocean Springs and Gaucher.
So, Chief, every scenario you just mentioned was researched and looked at. The volunteer fire department on 57 was discussed. That is still a possibility. Sunplex was considered. The Gaucher offer was there. Just, yes, it's cost effective, but it was still very expensive for what we were going to have to do, and it wasn't going to it wasn't going to help our response time. It was not going to help our fire rating. We're still offering a better service than what was there prior to our annexation. I would love to be able to get there one day, so hopefully we can move in that direction to be able to build a new facility. But everything you did just mention was looked at closely. Like Alderman Blackman said, we reviewed that, and so it's not that none of that was researched. It was all researched, and everything was adequate, and that's why nothing was done at that time. So, but I would like to improve it, like you said, for 2027. That would be good to be able to say we've got a new plan moving forward. So, but thank you.
I've reached out to the Rating Bureau, and we're doing a great job in the fire service and for the city of Ocean Springs. So once we can get that calculation and see that projected growth, then we'll have some definite answers. But I look at that hopefully coming in another 2 months, 2 to 3 months, when they get their system back.
And I love to hear when you said that your goal is to get to a 3. That's fantastic. If we could get there, there's not many 3s in the state.
There's not, and it's very vital. It is. It's in hand reach.
And especially if we can find a way to get a new station out there, that would really.
Top it.
Absolutely.
Sunplex has plenty of room.
You got a spot, Lisa?
No.
Oh, you know, the new EOC for the county will be.
Right next door to that.
It'd be really nice. And I know there's other things possibly being looked at or requested for that area also, so it might be a good fit right there.
That's one thing, speaking with the rate bureau, that we're limited on commercial sides because of the lack of a fire station within 2 miles. So if we were to centrally locate a station there, then that could open up development in that area and along the interstate also. So I don't know what the future plans of the city and commercial development, that could really expand that.
Yeah.
Also.
Thank you. You got anything else, Mr. Gilly? That's it? All right, Mr. Henn?
All right, got a few questions. This is for Sarah and Carolyn. The sidewalk money that was being allocated, where we stand with that right now in completion?
So the money out of the 3 million it's about exhausted. I think we probably have maybe 20,000 left.
Okay.
Now the $1 million sidewalk, that's not touched.
Well,
That's
no.
still for beaches.
Yeah, that's not for what you're talking about.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah, I was just talking about the 3 million. Okay, so there's about 20 left. All right.
And that was us only 300,000 out of that 3 million.
Right.
It was not 3 million worth of sidewalk.
And there's already been other spots needing fixed and repaired and identified, so that.
All right. Kind of do want to do a follow-up with the paving. Looks like we do have some issues with getting the paver back here. What other options have we looked at getting another paving company to come in? And that's, I know.
So our term bid does allow us to go to the second bidder, but they're just not as difficult as the first one, just because paving is limited. So I've reached out to them, and I've reached out to a separate company as well.
Who's the second on the list?
Stocksville.
Stocksville.
Gulf Pride.
They didn't bid.
They're readily available, I think, right now.
All right. So, yeah, because there's a few streets downtown and throughout that I'd like to see, plus School Street needs to get done. The second thing is also, this is going to be kind of a follow-up with the Parks and Rec and for Public Works, is there's a lot of trees around town that have vines that have been growing up in them. I like to just see those vines, taken and cut and clean, because they are inhibiting good growth on these trees around town. So I'd like to see that followed up. And last on my point is, this is kind of a follow-up with the city attorney. After talking to the board and the mayor about what was presented to us, the mayor is reaching out to get an AG's opinion about what was told to us. I'm gonna let Bobby kind of follow up with that. And I want some clarity on that. So that is all I have. And also I'd like to thank the staff and the city for doing a really good job. Thank y'all.
And the AG's opinion has been sent. Got to wait on the follow-up to get anything further. Let's see, and I also would like to thank Crew Unique for feeding our employees this past Friday at the Ryan Youth Center. I did not make it, but Greg, everybody was rubbing it in. They said, you're a little late. The food was fantastic. But thank you very much for taking care of this.
That's check.
Employee.
Check, yeah.
Oh, check, I'm sorry. You shouldn't have let us in on that. So, anyway, I also, with the comments being made, Matthew, you following up on the attorney, I just want you to know, I just met Mr. Harris 90 days ago, and he stepped in here, has been very professional, very honest, and has put up with a lot of accusations, and we make mistakes. We've made mistakes. Every one of us in this room is going to make mistakes. But I'm going to tell you, I couldn't ask for anything more from Mr. Harris and the job he's done for us, and I appreciate everything you've done, David. Moving forward, we'll see. The RFPs are out. They'll be out on Wednesday, and we'll take applicants. But I just wanted you to know I appreciate the job you've done and the professionalism you carried with you. Thank you. And that's all I have. Do we have anything for executive session? There's nothing for executive session. All right, well, that's good.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
I got a motion by Alderman Blackman to adjourn, a second by Alderman Piper. All in favor?
Aye.
You vote.
Yeah.